In this section, we're going to talk about home ownership. So the first thing we want to talk about is mortgages. A mortgage is just a loan. It's a long-term installment loan. So installment just means you make regular monthly payments. Typically it's for 30 years, but it could be shorter or even longer. If you don't make your payments, then the lender could take the property back. Whenever you buy a home, you're usually required to pay a down payment, which is a portion of the sale price. So the amount of your mortgage is actually the difference between the sale price of the home, subtract your down payment. So the amount of your payments depend on the principal, which would be the amount of the mortgage, but also the interest and the length of the loan. Our mortgages can have a fixed rate interest or variable interest rate. So fixed rate mortgage, and that's actually, I bought a house recently and my mortgage is fixed rate mortgage. It's going to be the same payments during the entire loan. Sometimes it's called a fixed installment loan. The other type is a variable rate mortgage, also called an adjustable rate mortgage or an ARM. So those types of mortgages, the payments change depending on what the interest rate is at the time. And the federal government sets our interest rates. So there's other computations that come into play whenever you're figuring out your monthly mortgage payment. So some institutions require that you pay at least 1 point at the time of closing. So a point is just a one-time charge. It's 1% of your loan amount. The more points that you pay, the less your interest rate will be. The less points you pay, the higher your interest rate. So there is a document, the Truth in Lending Disclosure Statement, that your lender is going to have to provide you with so that you can see that they're not cheating you on the interest rates. Some lenders also require that you do an escrow account. So an escrow account will typically make your mortgage payments higher. The escrow account includes the home owner's insurance and also the property tax. So if you decide to include escrow into your mortgage, then it'll increase your monthly payments. Some lenders don't require that, so they would just give you your mortgage, and then on your own, you would also have to pay your homeowner's insurance and your property tax. The formula for the monthly payments or your mortgage payments is the same as if you were paying for a car. So it's the same formula that we saw in the previous section, where PMT is just your regular mortgage payments, R is the interest rate, T is years, P is the amount you're borrowing, and N is the amount of payments per year. Example 1, we have a price of a 2-bedroom house in Kaneohe. It's $600,000. The bank requires a 10% down payment and 2 points at the time of closing. The loan is a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 4.5% interest. Part A, we want to find the down payment. So the down payment in this case is 10% of the $600,000. So we have to take 0.1 of, so times the 600,000. And that would give us $60,000. So our down payment is $60,000. Part B, we want to find the amount of the mortgage. So the amount of the mortgage is going to be the price of the house, which was $600,000. We're going to subtract our down payment of $60,000 to get a mortgage of $540,000. Part C, how much must be paid for the 2 points at closing? So remember, 2 points, that's 2%, or 0.02. And it's 0.02 of the $540,000, not the cost of the home. So 0.02 times the 540,000, it's going to be $10,800. And then D, find the monthly payment. And this is excluding escrow, so we don't have to figure out escrow in this example. So our monthly payment is our payment formula, where we take our mortgage, which is 540,000, multiply it by the rate of 0.045, so 4.5%. N is the amount of payments per year, so monthly payments would be 12. And this would be over 1 minus parentheses 1 plus the interest rate 0.045 over the monthly payments of 12. It's going to be raised to the exponent negative 12 times, and it's a 30-year loan, so T is 30. And then when I put that in my calculator, I get 2736.10 and so on. So I'm going to round this to the nearest dollar. Again, just be careful. On my lab, they might have you round it to 2 decimal places, so they'll also include the cents as well. But I'm just going to go to the nearest dollar. Now that we have our monthly payments, which would be $2,736, in part E, we're going to figure out the total interest paid. So the total interest that we pay is going to be our total amount that we pay during the space of our loan minus the mortgage. So we're going to pay $2,736 per month. So we're going to multiply that by 12. And that will give us how much we pay in a year, but it's a 30-year loan, so we're going to multiply that by 30, which gives us 984. Ooh, that's really high. 984,996. So in the 30 years, we are going to pay almost $1 million for that $600,000 house. That's crazy. Okay, but that's not, we're not done with this. We have to find the total interest paid. So that's how much money we paid total. The cost of the home, or the cost of the mortgage, sorry, is 540,000. So that difference is going to be 444,996. And that's actually pretty accurate when it comes to buying a home. And the reason why you pay so much in interest is because homeowner's loan is so long. We're talking 30 years. Sorry, I have a correction on part E. Instead of 984,996, that was 984,960. So when we subtract 540,000, we actually get our total as 444,960. So that would be our interest paid. So in those 30 years, you've accrued a lot of interest. So the next thing we're going to talk about is our loan amortization schedule. And amorte, so Latin, that means to kill or die. So that's going to be a chart that tells you when your house is going to be paid off. So when your mortgage is killed. And here, when we figure out interest in our amortization schedule, we're going to use the simple interest formula that you had from an algebra class, which would be I equal to PRT. Here, P is going to be the balance of the loan. And in your table, that would be this last column. So that's your P. And it's going to decrease each month as you're paying off your mortgage. The annual interest rate is R. In this table, which is an example of a loan amortization schedule, the interest rate is 9.5%, which is super, super high. But this is just an example in your textbook. Since our payments are made monthly, in our interest formula, the T that we're putting in is going to be 1/12 of a year. Since T is in years and we're making monthly payments, when we figure out our amortization schedule, it's going to be month by month by month. So in this table, this gives an example of what this type of schedule looks like. So when is your loan going to be killed off? Well, in this particular example, the interest rate is 9.5%. The amount of the mortgage is $130,000. The number of monthly payments depends on the term of the loan. How long is the loan? And here the term is 15 years. So if you take 15 years and you multiply that by 12 for the monthly payments, you get the number of total monthly payments at 180. And let's say your mortgage payments are $1,357.50. Well, let's look at your first payment. Out of the $1,357.50, you're paying $1,029.17 in interest, and that's using that interest formula I equal to PRT. So the principal is that you're paying off is only about $328. So after your first payment, your loan balance is now gone from $130,000 to $129,671.67. When you look at your next payment, payment number 2, so that's your second month, the interest that you figure out, the interest payment is going to be on that balance that we just had. The $129,671.67. So when we figure out the interest, the I equal to PRT, on that balance, it's $1,026.57. Remember, your monthly payments are not changing. It's still $1,357.50. So now this time, more money is going towards the principal, which would be about $330 or $331. So we get our new loan balance. And then we're going to repeat this process. On that new loan balance, we're going to figure out for payment 3 what the interest would be, and then how much of our mortgage payment goes to the principal amount. So notice as time goes on and you make payments, the interest rate or the amount that is paid towards interest goes down, the amount that's paid towards the principal goes up, and then eventually at your 180th payment, you will have 0 owed, so you own your home. Example 2, we're going to do an amortization schedule, but just for the first 2 months, because after the first 2 months, it's just doing the same thing over and over again. In our example, the interest rate is going to be 7%. The amount of our mortgage is $200,000. Our monthly payments would be $1,550. Since this is a 20-year loan and we're making 12 payments per year, the total number of monthly payments will be 240. So payment number 1, we need to figure out what the interest is on $200,000. So remember, the interest is equal to P. In this case, P is the 200,000 times the interest rate R, which is 0.07, times 1/12, which would be our T, and then putting that in a calculator. I'm going to go 2 decimal places. This is going to be 1166.666 and so on. So I'm going to round it to 0.67. And that would be my interest payment. So when I subtract that amount from the $1,550, what's left over is $383.33. That's the amount of money that's going towards the principal. And then the balance of my loan depends on the amount of the principal payment. So I'm not taking away the $1,550 from the 200,000. What I'm doing is I'm saying, okay, I started out with a principal of 200,000. The $383.33, that's what I paid towards my principal. So when I subtract that from my 200,000, I get 199,616.67. That's my new balance. So the balance of the loan depends on the amount of principal you're paying. You ignore the interest and you take the principal payment from your previous principal. In this case, our previous principal was the $200,000. So let's do this again with our second payment. Now we're using a loan balance of 199,616.67. When we figure out the interest that we're paying on the 199,616.67, it's going to be times the interest rate of 0.07 and then times the time, which would be 1/12. All right, putting this into my calculator, I get, well, actually, I'm going to do my squiggly lines because I'm going to round it to 2 decimal places, 1164.43. 1164.43. So notice the amount of interest that I'm paying is going down because my loan balance is going down. And when I subtract this from the payment 1550, I'm going to get 385.57. So now this principal payment is going to be taken away from the balance of the loan to figure out my new balance. So my previous balance was 199,616.67. I'm going to subtract the 385.57 to get 199,231.10. So if you do have a mortgage and you have the opportunity to pay it off early, I would seriously recommend that because you pay so much in interest. So let's talk about what you can actually afford. And this table is in your book. Typically, you don't want to spend more than 28% of your gross monthly income. So that's before you pay before taxes are taken out or you pay for medical and so on. So no more than 28% of your gross monthly income for just the mortgage payments. And when you talk about, I know none of us do this, I don't know about you, but I pretty much live day by day. When we talk about total debt, you shouldn't spend more than 30% of your gross monthly income on total debt. So that would include your mortgage payments, your car payments, credit cards, student loans, medical debt, and so on. So here's a chart that's in your book, and it's an example where, let's say your gross annual income, so yearly income is $20,000. So you should spend no more than $467 on your monthly mortgage payment. So that would be 28% of the $20,000. And your total monthly obligation, so again, that's including the mortgage and other payments such as car payments or credit cards, should be no more than 36% of the $20,000 or $600. And then if you look down on this list, it has 30,000, 40,000, 50,000. So let's say that you make $60,000 a year, you should spend no more than $1,400 for your mortgage payment. and you should spend no more than $1,800 for your total monthly credit obligations, because this does not include utilities, food, and all that stuff. That's just regular payments such as car payments or credit card payments, student loans, that kind of thing. So let's suppose that your gross annual income is $55,000. What is the maximum amount that you should spend each month on mortgage payment? So you would just take your $55,000, but remember, we're trying to figure out spending each month on a mortgage payment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this by 12 to get, and I'll round it to the nearest dollar, 4583. So this $4,583, that's my gross monthly income. So 28% of that would be 0.28 times 4583. I get 1283, which means that I should spend no more than $1,283 on my monthly mortgage payments. Part B, what is the maximum that you should spend each month for total credit obligations? That would be 36% or 0.36 times. My monthly income was 4583. Oops. And I get 1650. Part C. If your monthly mortgage payment is 90% of the maximum amount you can afford, what is the maximum amount you should spend for all other debt? So remember, from Part B, the total that you should spend for your debt is $1,650. Well, let's say that your mortgage is not $1,283. Let's say that your mortgage is only 90% of the 90% of your monthly. So if you do 90% of your mortgage payment, maximum mortgage payment of 1283, or in other words, 0.9, then you would get 1155. So that means instead of spending your max amount for mortgage, which is the 1,283, you're only spending $1,155. So that means that you can take your total that you're allowed, the 1,650, you subtract how much you're paying for your mortgage, the 1155. What's left over is $495. So that's the maximum amount you should spend for all other debt. So that does not include your mortgage. The last thing we really want to talk about, and this is just comments, we're not going to do any exercises for this, is comparing renting versus buying. Now, typically, the more you make, the more you actually want to buy a house, because the benefit of buying a house is that you get a very good tax benefit. But let's look at the benefit for renting. And there's a lot of them, because you don't have to do down payments, points. So you have a security deposit, but that's usually returned if you don't trash the place you're renting. When you're renting, easy to relocate if you need to move. Renting does not tie up thousands of dollars that could be invested elsewhere. Think about your mortgage payments. And that first example I did where it was a 2-bedroom house in Kaneohe for $600,000 and the 4.5% interest rate, that's my example, and that's actually pretty accurate. And you saw how much money you're spending each month on your mortgage, the rent is usually lower. So renting usually gives you lower monthly expenses. And some places when you rent, you get amenities such as a pool or a health club. You don't run the risk of losing your investment. If house prices drop, you lose money. No property taxes, no maintenance costs. If you're only planning to stay a few years, then renting's the way to go. So buying is typically something you would want to do if you want to make a long-term commitment. So the benefits of owning a home is stability. Right? You don't have to worry about somebody wanting to sell the condo you're renting and force you to relocate, that kind of thing. You get a good tax advantage. I get to write off my interest that I pay on my mortgage for my taxes every year. No rent increase. You have the freedom to redecorate or remodel as you choose, whereas when you're renting, there's certain things you can and cannot do. You build up equity. So the equity is the difference between the value of your home and what you actually owe on it. And then if you're thinking long term, buying costs less than renting. That's it for this section. It's just all about mortgages. And then the next section that we're going to talk about is credit cards. So that's it for this one.